Over the past few years or so, we've had our cinemas taken over by one major studio. What studio was that? Well, Marvel, of course. Today it may be commonplace to see superhero movies and crossovers and that sort of thing, but that's only been in the last few years. There was a time whenever the movie Iron Man came out and I went to the theater and was blown away. I was like, what is this? This is amazing. This guy is like, he's cool and fun, and the music is all like okay, that's not the most strongest characteristic of the Iron Man films, but I digress. The point is to say that immediately following the release of the Iron Man film and its success, it was announced by Marvel that they were gonna make a bunch of Marvel superhero movies. And then it would lead up to all of those characters meeting up in a film called The Avengers. What? That had never happened before. This huge endeavor of major motion pictures coming together, it was unheard of. And then when they actually pulled it off and finished up phase 1 with the release of The Avengers, it was pretty amazing. So it's kind of crazy to think that we've now been through 2 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the first one being a little better than the second one, in my opinion, but we're not here to talk about my opinion. All we're here to do is talk about the facts, and that's what I'm about to give you with 5 facts you might not know about the Avengers. Number 1, Stan Lee, the creator of, well, you know who Stan Lee is. He makes a cameo in every Marvel film, and he basically created the entire Marvel universe. Pretty cool guy. Apparently, when he created Iron Man, his goal was to create a character that was completely unlikable, with his warmongering and war profiteering and snarky remarks, and just plain kind of rudeness and rich and better than everyone, totally unlikable guy, and to force him down people's throats until they liked him. And how did that work out for you, Stan Lee? Well played, Mr. Lee. Well played. Number 2, Tom Hiddleston, the actor who plays Loki, originally tried out for the role of Thor, and they were like, Tom, what are you doing? You're too skinny. You're a tiny skinny man. Try out for Loki, not Thor. Have you ever even seen Thor? That guy who's coming in right after you, played Captain Kirk's young dad who died and everybody cried at the beginning of that Star Trek movie. That guy looks like Thor. Hire him. Hire him now. Try out for Loki. Of course, the same thing happened whenever Tom Hiddleston tried out for the part of the horse in the movie War Horse. Tom, you're too skinny and you're not a horse. Number 3, in the first Avengers film, not to be confused with Captain America, the First Avenger, just the film called The Avengers. The SHIELD research facility that we see was actually filmed in NASA's Plum Brook Station, which is of course owned by NASA, and it's used to test rockets and space stations, and I assume Iron Man suits, and their ability to host karaoke parties. Number 4, you might already know that actress Scarlett Johansson was pregnant during the principal photography of Avengers Age of Ultron. In order to hide this, they used camera tricks and also 3 different stunt doubles. They did such a good job at picking the stunt doubles that many of her co-stars couldn't tell them apart. Co-star Chris Evans said that he got into a conversation with one of the stunt doubles and spoke to her for quite a while before he realized that it wasn't actually Scarlett Johansson, which, judging by some of Chris Evans' comments during the promotion of Age of Ultron, that conversation could have gotten pretty awkward. Number 5, this is my favorite fact, and it's not quite related to Avengers, but I'm making it work because it involves Stan Lee, who is, you know who Stan Lee is, I mentioned him at the beginning of the episode. DC Comics hired Stan Lee to write a 13-part comic book series called Just Imagine. In this, he reimagined several DC characters, giving their alter egos different names and their characters different origin stories. Like Batman is African American, and he earns a bunch of money as a pro wrestler named Batman, which is a little bit like Spider-Man. And then Superman's backstory is he's a scientist on his home planet, and he accidentally teleports himself and somebody else to Earth. And then he's stuck there, and because of our primitive society and our lack of peace on Earth and goodwill toward men, we're unable to advance technologically in order to create a teleporter like the one he had on his planet. So he dedicates his time to fixing all those problems of Earth so that we can advance and he can get home. Pretty fascinating stuff. Other revamps include Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, though a surprising lack of arm fall off boy. Not sure why. That's a real DC character, look him up. Like to see Stan Lee try his hand at that guy, am I right? Well, that's all for this time. If you have any cool or interesting facts about movie-related topics, then leave them in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe because you don't wanna miss a thing. That being said, I'm Kevin, and those are the facts.